Now, as StatsSA gears up to release data on electricity generation and distribution later today, an electricity tariff war has ensued between AfriForum and Nersa. Now, unlawful and invalid, that's the ruling of the Pretoria High Court with regard to the energy regulator increasing municipal electricity tariffs without considering cost studies. Nersa will appeal the ruling, but has in the meantime increased electricity prices by nearly 13% while the appeal is pending. Morné Mostert, who's manager of local government affairs at AfriForum, joins us now with more detail. Morné, an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.
Good day.
Wonderful, Morné. Let's get into, this case that you put forward there and the importance of cost studies in determining tariffs.
So, any municipal consumer at this stage can't reliably explain to the person sitting next to them what are they exactly paying for when they are paying for electricity. So it was very important that with the drafting of the Electricity Regulations Act, the regulator has received the obligation to ensure that municipal licensees have a cost of supply study, a document setting out what the exact costs are, what are the asset base, what are the financials with regards to the people that they employ. All of that types of information needs to be actual numbers, and that needs to be put into a specific study. And what is important is that for the last decade, we have seen that only the percentile game has been played. It's only a percentage increase each year, but there's no rationale between the amount that you pay and what it exactly physically costs for municipalities. So that's why it's the important part of this cost of supply document. And that is why our application is really forward-looking to say, there was this decade, the electricity price for municipal consumers have increased fourfold. So maybe let's go back to basics. Let's look at the science of what municipalities are asking, and let's ensure compliance from municipal licensees. Now, a responsible regulator would have taken these steps by themselves, not only because it's their legislative obligation, but also because in October 2022, we've received, there was already a court order against Nersa to apply the cost of supply method to municipalities. And we, as AfriForum, say we are forward-looking. We want to see transparency with municipalities, and we want to them to be accountable to the energy regulator of South Africa.
Absolutely got you there. What's interesting also, I think, Morné, and I guess it's something consumers must be also wondering here is why the cost study picture is not even. In my mind, when we say 13%, because it's 13% whether you live in Tshwane or you live in Johannesburg, why is it that different municipalities would have discrepancies in how much they spend there? Are these not uniform institutions with very similar pictures?
This is a very good question. The first time that this question is asked, but it's very important that the pictures are different. If we can say, let's take a metropolitan municipality like City of Tshwane, which is the third largest geographical municipality in the world, and the amount of space that they need to reticulate these electricity is in no way comparable to maybe someone that is staying in Balabala or in Warmbaths, where it's a much smaller municipality, and the municipal responsibility is only for the small town of, let's say, Balabala, not for the whole geographical area within because Eskom also supplies a certain amount there. So the amounts may differ for the vast large grounds that needs to be covered, and that's why one of the reasons that it's important to have the scientific method where they can reasonably explain why there should be a different tariff, or while the bulk purchase of the tariff may be a large percentage of the costs, it's very reasonably explained if they have such a document. But the inverse is, how do we know if you are a municipal licensee what you are paying for? Or if more importantly, the Electricity Regulation Act has a specific section in section 15 which says only an efficient licensee may actually make money from selling electricity. Now, looking at the the stance on municipalities currently, how many of them would you characterize as efficient? More importantly, prudency test needs to be done to check what are the amounts that a municipality is not efficient, and that should actually be taken away from the municipal tariff. We are not seeing that NASA is even doing this, and that's why it's very important for us to get clarity on what the actual numbers are that municipal licensees are doing, and aren't they subsidizing maybe other services with those funds. We see that municipalities will use the electricity tariff, as an extra tax for them to actually try and either fund other services with the municipality, or the darker picture for those funds to fall into a dark pit, to be consumed.
It is very interesting, Morné, because what we also hear sometimes is some energy analysts saying that in South Africa, how much we pay for electricity is not cost reflective, and that we would actually pay more. But when you speak of all these inefficiencies, then we also know that inefficiencies lead to inflation. They lead to a higher cost. And so maybe that is the reason why we can conclude that we are not paying what we should be paying, because the system is so inefficient.
Yes, there's just two very important components. The municipal licensee has their own costs for reticulating electricity and selling that electricity. And then there's obviously the bulk purchase price on Eskom's side. Now, Eskom is a whole nother system, and the problems in Eskom is very well known. So there is obviously these two different components to the electricity. What we do think, and what energy experts also say, is the picture starts getting different if you have the actual numbers. What we have seen with these cost of supply studies, that there are certain municipalities that have done them, but have done them on the course of assumptions. They assume what the asset base is. They assume what the costs are for maintenance within that area. So they're not using actuals to actually determine the cost of electricity, which then bring you to a wrong conclusion within that. I've seen cost of supply studies where they think the cost should be should increase fourfold or three times the amount. So, but when you do inquiries thereupon, the picture becomes clear that they use assumptions here and they use assumptions there. There is not efficiency tests being done. There's not prudency tests being done. So it is important that these cost of supply studies should go through public participation processes where experts, civil rights organizations, and business forums can actually go through all of the numbers of the municipality to see if these things add up. Now, obviously, that's why we are saying this court order that was granted to us was a very large order for transparency. But it seems like NASA at this stage will do anything at their disposal to not give the community this information.
Well, Morné, thank you for taking us through this. I think a very important one for us to keep our fingers on the pulse with, and we'll certainly do that. That was Morné Mostert. He's Manager of Local Government Affairs at AfriForum.